Christina Schifitto is a hydration consultant whose passion is to inspire people to achieve optimal health and wellness. Formerly having worked in a corporate environment, she experienced a health crisis which led her to become a wellness entrepreneur. Now she focuses on connecting people with health and wellness technologies that maximize self-healing and empowerment. Finding the simplest, most appropriate ways to manage the complex by changing your lifestyle is what she believes to be key. It's all about making the greatest impact so you can get back to living your healthiest and most energetic life possible. A large foundation of her approach includes educating people about ionized alkaline water produced from medical-grade ionizers, manufactured and produced in Japan by a company called Enagic. Are on. So welcome, Christina. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here today.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
I would love to just kick things off and hear about how you were introduced to quality water and became known as a hydration coach.
Well, I suppose I got introduced to the importance of water more so back in 2014. I had become quite ill, so I had a bit of a health crisis. Many of us go through that at different points in our life. But what I got to appreciate is how I had addressed so many things about my total body wellness. You know, we look at addressing nutrition, exercise, sleep, you know, getting to the foundations of everything. And one of the missing pieces was what I was drinking was water. And what I discovered through, you know, speaking with different teams of people that were helping me through my health and wellness recovery, you know, being 70% water it was this big piece I just didn't see. And so now that I've come all this way to be fully recovered, so I was dealing with primarily, like, if you need like an actual diagnosis, like chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, a really serious adrenal kind of burnout. So, and you know, when you're dealing with these complex issues, doctors have a hard time even just pinning it down, really, to determine what it is that's really taking you out. And so by getting educated over all of these years and addressing so many aspects of my health, I've addressed the water piece. And so because I can see the massive impact that's had on my life, I now focus on helping people from a health and wellness standpoint by really just helping them learn from what I've learned and apply what I've learned as well in their daily life.
Christina, what exactly is Kangen water and why is it different from regular water?
Well, I was actually introduced to electrically reduced water by my integrative medical doctor probably back in 2014. But at the time, I was so chronic fatigue, brain fogged to the max, done, that I just couldn't even wrap my head around it or understand it. And so I kind of left it be. It was just one of those things I wasn't going to act on at the time. And then when I had a massive relapse in 2018, so 2014 was the onset, and 2018 was the big relapse. And that was when I discovered the dental infections that were really slowing me down. So it was at that time that I had removed that infection, cleaned up my dentistry issues with a holistic dentist. And then I was also working with a holistic cancer practitioner. And so just before starting a massive detox protocol with him, I had acquired an ionizer. So we're talking about electrically reduced water. And what I found in just that first week of drinking the water is I had a noticeable improvement in my energy and sleep. And for someone who's dealing with chronic fatigue syndrome, this is like the biggest thing, right? This is what you're hyper aware of. When something is going to improve that, it becomes very apparent very quickly. So that's when
you noticed it right away.
I did. Within probably 3 days of drinking the water, I felt a difference in terms of my sleep quality and my energy level. Obviously, sleep, if you can sleep, when you have that recovered, restored sleep, then you have so much more energy, right? So that's what then got me into working, and I gained this trust with this holistic cancer practitioner, went on this very thorough detox, which helped me really foundationally address strengthening the immune system. And the water has been an integral part of my recovery ever since. So the first time I had the onset of my illness, it was over a year it took me to recover to the point where I could return to work. Whereas the second time I had this relapse and got introduced to this water as part of my integrative health approach, I was back at the gym within about 2 months of being introduced to the water. So to me, it became very apparent that the water, along with many other things, right? It's not just the water, but the water was a significant contributing factor to helping me just recover. And that's largely because what you're able to do with the water is you're allowing your cells to run better. So you're energizing your cells because you're dealing with an electric water, and you're able to detoxify the body. So you're able to take burdens away, and you're able to improve energy. And that's, foundational to so many health setbacks people have. And so I was then able to get into healthier routines as a result. So I was then able to, get back into exercising and working out again, which is also very, very important, right? So when you can kind of get that, it was kind of like a kickstart, right? It was that kickstart to supporting my body on an energetic level to then keep going forward with healthful lifestyle. And then I haven't looked back since. So since I would say December 2018, I then chose to represent the technology because of its impact in my life. But it's, I don't think without having gone through this, I would have believed it. But that's been my experience personally.
Yeah. Well, the water definitely does detox you because
yeah, I know a lot of stories.
Yeah. Well, when I did that trial with you, and that's one of the things that we talked about is sometimes, like you had the chronic fatigue, so you felt that immediate shift in energy. Mm. Some people are going to go through more of those detox symptoms. And I was like, oh my God, why am I running to the bathroom constantly? Like, what's going on? And then you were able to be like, okay, you got to change a couple things here. Like you changed some of the settings on the water machine so that it wasn't as abrasive. But I was really surprised by that because as a holistic nutritionist and as someone who's fairly clean with eating, I wouldn't have thought that I would have a detox. And it, wasn't that bad. It was just, everything was moving through my body. But I wouldn't have expected that my body needed to detox that much.
Mm-hmm. When you're drinking a true alkaline water, so alkaline where you're not actually chemically adding what makes it alkaline, it's through the electrolysis process. It actually enables the body to, your colon can be flooded much more effectively with that water. So water being a very cleansing way to flush out those toxins, it's not uncommon for people to have that experience, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just think it's, I think it's interesting, and it's not, that if people do a water trial, to not shy away from the fact that that's happening, because that's part of the healing process, right? And it's just kind of the start. And then for some people, they might notice immediate benefits, and for other people, they might notice like these changes at the beginning, which is ultimately going to bring better health and wellness after for them. As they, as it kind of gets into the body. And okay, Christina, as a hydration expert, we've talked about detox, but how else does water affect the core?
Well, I would say it's very common for people in general to have complaints like lower back pain, right? Like it's almost like just a generally accepted thing that we all have pain in some way that we carry around in life. And really, it gets easily masked with just the need for people to quickly get a painkiller, right? We have opioid crises now, right? Like in many forms, right? And I know even with my own experience with, say, with fibro, if like I have slight whatever aspects of fibromyalgia, I don't feel pain. In fact, to the point where when they were trying to diagnose that, I just didn't even sense that I had that, right? So when you properly hydrate the body, actually can really address a lot of these pain points, lower back being one of them. And when we properly hydrate the joints, we have a way of really eliminating those toxins and that buildup that can cause infection, inflammation, which is a problem, right? And really leads to this pain that people are dealing with in a lot of ways. So what I found really interesting from my own personal experience was, typically when I have my relapse or when I was very ill, I would go to the chiropractor 3 times a week to manage that pain and lower back, rating it, upper back and everything.
Yeah.
But when I was properly hydrated with this Kangen water, I actually stopped going to the chiropractor for about 7 to 8 months. And I couldn't figure it out. So I decided to research this because I couldn't understand, why don't I feel that I need to go? This is great. Firstly, yay, I feel good. Because sometimes we're so used to being in chronic pain, we actually don't even check into when that's gone. We have to be aware of when that leaves, right? We have to really make that mind-body connection. But what I discovered is how, the lower lumbar disc, it's the water volume that's stored in that disc that holds up 75% of our upper body weight. That's so amazing. When you really think about, tackling the big piece of what could be a source of pain, if we're consuming a type of water that's deeply hydrating, we can really tackle and ensure that we're giving our bodies its best advantage, so that we're really supporting our body optimally, right? If we can drink a water that's going to provide us with that proper support, then it's going to support the exercises that we do to maintain our pain and to minimize it, or to just strengthen, right? We don't want to exercise just to minimize pain. We're exercising for other goals, to strengthen and train, right? So just recognizing how water is a lubricating agent, it helps bear the weight, yeah, and support our body as a really important part of spinal health, starting at that base. It's really important to make that connection when people are looking to address the core. And I think for me, I may have, I've definitely had aggravating factors in my own case, because I broke my tailbone snowboarding when I was 19. So, we go through life with injuries too, right? So when people are injuring themselves, right, we want to be able to do whatever we can to minimize the inflammation, right? To get ourselves to a point where we can support the body so we can do the exercises, because being stagnant and shying away from exercise is the worst thing you can do, right? We need to be making sure that we're keeping that mobility happening. So that's where I see, water, keeping that lumbar area hydrated as being a really important piece. And then the second piece I would say is the energy piece, right? So if we're having a water, I think a lot of the times we may not think of water as being like an energy source, right? But it really is. Like, it's what's it's so important for the electricity, for everything that's happening in our body, and consuming salt, right? We need to be having all of these things happen. So by having those proper energy stores, by having that, being plugged into an electric living water, we then give ourselves we then give our bodies the chance to have the energy to carry out in the exercising that we need to do, mm-hmm, for our core and the rest of our body, right? So those are, I would say, like the two big areas that relate to the core, other than, for example, digestion and toxin, removal. Well, and that's how people find relief, right? In some senses, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if you're in tune with your body, and some people might not even make the connection, but I know, just based on clients and myself, that if you're really dehydrated, or you've had a night of drinking and then you go and you do a workout, your energy levels, the chance that you're going to injure yourself with weight training, or going to do some intense cardio or whatnot, and just the way that your joints and muscles will feel, and even the recovery afterwards, is very different than if you've been hydrated for, if you've been hydrating for a few days. So it's not just important to be like drinking water while you're exercising. It's, you know, how is your body going into that exercise as well? And then of course it comes down to the quality of water. And there's a big difference, because I've seen you do the tests before with water from my tap, water from the store that you're buying that's supposed to be natural spring water, and then water from that's actually coming out of the machine with the electrolysis, and basically what those levels look like and what that acidity versus alkalinity looks like for everything. And it is very fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, when we're looking at these types of technologies, what we're looking to obtain therapeutically is something that's going to mimic what's naturally found in nature, that's provided very, very beneficial therapeutic properties for people. So if we look around the world, there's these different, you know, if you want to call them like miracle waters, and those three attributes that these different peoples and groups consume this water from are that it's alkaline, it's rich in antioxidants, it's electric, it's a living water, and it's restructured, right? So those are the properties we want to really benefit our bodies with. And so if we don't know where the water we're currently consuming kind of rates on those things, there are ways to evaluate it, and it's good at the very least to explore it, so we know what we're dealing with, because there's so many different options, and depending on where we are on the planet, you know, we need to find the best source for our own needs.
Any last thoughts that you would like to share on water, and especially good quality water?
The water becomes a piece that influences everything. So how we take care of the insides of our body, how we take care of the outsides of our body with the, you know, personal care products, how we prepare our food, right? It impacts then how do we strip pesticides off our food so that we're not consuming more petrochemicals and burdening our bodies. And then how we're cleaning our environment. So at the end of the day, there's this this doctor, Hiromi Shinya. He helped, I think, co-invent the polypectomy, but he's been around for decades, and he's like a digestive health expert, really, really well-known doctor. And he has a really great book called The Enzyme Factor, and in it he talks about syntropy and entropy, and really all of this comes down to, like, aging really comes down to how we are living our life and ultimately our environment. So we need to really clean up our environment by choosing better water, the environment we make on the inside, how we interact with our outside environment. And we might be amazed at what that can do for just our overall well-being, right?
If people want to find you, follow you, you know, creep you, where can they do that?
Well, I have a website, so purevibesbychristina.com. I'm also on Instagram. That's probably a better source as well. It's a little bit more updated. So Instagram handle at purevibesbychristina. And I'm on LinkedIn as well. You can find me directly there, Pure Vibes by Christina or Christina Schifitto. And I'm happy to connect that way. I just basically use those as a platform to inspire people to live in good health and showcase how this has become a part of my life. And keep it authentic and really relatable. So we don't have to, you know, contemplate these technologies when we get sick, right?
Yeah.
It's like exercise. You don't start doing that just because you've suffered an injury, right?
Well, some people do.
Sometimes, but you know what I mean? Like, we want to be preventative, right? So we want to be proactive, and we want to evaluate how to make things the best they can be by being, you know, proactive and doing it before we get sick or before we have an injury, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it gets very expensive when you do get to that point and you hit that wall and you're forced to take care of your body. You wanna start now, right? Where you're at before it gets to that point. And if you're there, then, you know, start taking steps backwards, I guess. So there's gonna be links to for, you know, everyone to find Christina in the show notes. You can also find out, I guess, about a water trial too, because you do water trials, so you can actually get these units, bring them into your home, try it out for a few weeks. Christina does that. And you've got a little free gift for anyone that does click on the free gift link that'll be in the show notes.
It's Yukon turmeric, and I want to try turmeric is great. So it's a fancy organic tea that's from the same company, and I enjoy drinking that with my water.
All right, so check her out. Thank you so much for being here today. Just loved taking in all the information, soaking it all up. And everyone, check out Christina and find out, about the hydration and everything that you have to offer, because you have a lot more services, and that's in Christina's bio too. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Many thanks, Christina. Always a pleasure.